Hi, I'm Allie. Earlier today, I was on Facebook Live working with our treasure box for this month and have fun creating this mixed media necklace featuring some daggers and thought I'd show you how to make one. So we're going to be using some fun Potomac picks and some Athenacast to make another version. If you need any supplies, go ahead and look below the video in the description. We'll put a link there to get all the supplies that are needed. But the fun part about this is you can make it with anything. Gather up your colorways and let's get started. So welcome to my messy bead mat here. I wanted to show you the project that we did on Facebook Live, working with the treasure box. And we're going to go over how to make the daggers sit the way that you want them to be, how to do a little dangle here, and then how to do this mixed media of using beading cable along with some waxed linen cord, and then some suggestions what to do at the end. Even with some scraps and the techniques we're going to learn, you can even throw in a fun and funky pair of earrings. So for the design, the first thing that I'm going to concentrate whenever I'm designing is what's going to be the center of the focus. And in this necklace case, it is going to be the bottom bead here, which again, all of these came from our March treasure box. I'm picking some from Potomac Picks, and I'm going to use a crystal round. I'm going with a black and white theme, and I have black, white, and clear theme, and I'm going to use some of my black linen cord as well. So the first thing we're going to do is make a little drop. I'm also going to make it a little bit longer, more like opera length, and I want to use one of these fun Athenacast Twisted Hollow Links to link onto the top of this crystal bead. So the idea with this one is going to be I have these large crystal round. It's going to sit below there. I want to bring a little bit of color in at the bottom. So I've picked some of the Athenacast micro faceted and seamless mirrored rounds. I'm going to put those on the bottom to bring a little bit of that color there. And I've got some white daggers that are a little bit bigger because I'm going bigger with this design. I have some amazing Czech Turbine beads, which are a play on a cathedral bead, just kind of has that middle section shooting out there, and some 8OC beads. The 8OC beads are in the crystal A bead just to add a little bit of light and catch a little bit of that. And I'm going to show you how we're going to begin with this bottom section. So for the bottom section, I do want it to hang a little bit longer, hence why I got that twisted bead, which I might bring up further into the design as well. I have a brass head pin here. You can use gunmetal, you can use brass. This is just what I had happen to sit here. And I'm going to put on my mirrored round. Always when you're using something like this, you want to make sure that the end of the head pin does not go through the bead. I'm putting the bead on here. And then we're going to attach it to this little spiraled link here, which I think goes really well with that turbine link. Whenever you are making a loop, you want to think about what you're doing with the loop and how big you want it to be. I turn my wire to the side. I go in and I make a loop holding with my round nose plier, go over the top of the round nose, switch from the top to the bottom jaw, and you make that little loop there. That loop, rather than using a jump ring or anything, we're going to twist and get right into, going through the long piece, into that nice Potomac hollowed link filigree piece. Hold above there and just bend the wire around once, twice. You can let it sit as a cap at the top. I'm going to go in now with my wire cutter, just cut off that extra wire, and then go in with my needle nose plier and just kind of close that up a little bit. Now, it depends on if you want to do another link on top. I'm going to take some beading wire now, or beading cable, and we're going to string through there. When I make these designs and ideas, and I have all of these beads sitting around but don't know the exact pattern, I like to lay them all out. So I'm going to make my bead mat messy and get some of my beading cable. The beading cable that I'm going to be using for this is the Potomac beading cable in the 7-strand 0.018. And it doesn't need to be super long because remember, we're going to use our waxed linen. So I'm going to take right about 10 inches or so of that wire, just snip it here. And then I have my section. I'm going to change it a little bit up from the way that I did this one here. And taking our wire, I want to go through this piece here. And I want it to hang a little bit lower. So I'm going to drop one of my beads here with that mirrored round onto the top before I start separating it out. So that mirrored round is going to go right here onto both strands. I have equal amounts of the beading cable on either side, and that just brings that down so it hangs even a little bit lower. I'm going to cut apart my turbine, get out my beads, my big faceted check rounds in the 16 I'm going to put to the side and get ready to create. As you can see, I'm having fun progressing with my necklace. I have my ball on with the little link here. I've gone up and on top of that 4mm mirrored round, I added 1/8 and one of my turbine beads. Again, I want that long Y look. From there, I split the beading cable. And I did 3/8, 1/4, 2/8, 1/4, 1/8. So you can see 3, 2, 1, and then a turbine bead. Then I got creative and had fun putting those daggers in. 1/8 followed by 5 daggers. And then I repeated the turbine look of 1/8, 1/4, 1/8, turbine, 1/8 seed bead, and then 3 more of the daggers. Now the daggers are fun because they're going to move all around, which goes with the turbine and goes with that kind of spin. You can see the theme that's going on here. And what I want to do is finish off the design now after my grouping here. I wanted to show the bigger daggers versus the smaller and how they sit. They're going to sit off because they are fatter at the bottom than they are at the top. So that's why they sit in that direction. I also have my wax linen cord here, which I cut a total of 2 pieces that were 36 inches and then looped them in half and created a little loop. I'm about to do the same thing here. 2 pieces folded in half to about 16 or 18 inches each, depending on the length of your necklace. I looped them over and we're just going to take our hand and just do a simple knot. So I doubled it over, looping it through there. Then I want to make sure that knot is about the same size as the first one that I've created. Just kind of hold there and push down on the knot to make it smaller, pull back on the knot to make that loop bigger. Once you have that nice and tight there and you have those 2 looped knots, you have the back of your necklace. Now, keep in mind that in my original design, I did them separately. So I didn't do all 2 together. I did them separate just for a different kind of boho-y look. For this one here, I doubled them over and did them together. After my daggers, I'm just going to repeat, get some more of that crystal look up at the top here. 3 seed beads. Then I have my 1 mirrored round. And then I'm going to do 1 more 8/0 seed bead. From here, I have a crimp bead. So this is a crimp tube or a crimp bead. I'm going to bring the camera in so you can see it. It is a 2 by 2mm crimp tube that's metal. I am going to take that, loop through the 2 loops of my cord, go back through that crimp tube, back through the 8/0, back through the mirrored round, and pull that wire out after. Make sure I don't see a lot of extra wire hanging out because I want it to be fairly tight because I want those dagger beads to sit in opposite directions. If you need to, you can even grab with a plier, hold on to the beads and grab the wire to pull it down. I want it tight, but not so tight that this sits kind of bundled over itself. I'm going to go in then just with a chain nose plier here and just do a flat crimp. From here, take your wire cutter and cut off the extra wire. As I'm cutting off, I like to pull on the wire, push down on the beads with my cutter, and then usually, yeah, you hear that nice snap, and the wire almost tucks back up into the bead so you don't see it. I'm going to do the same thing over here, repeating those 3 seed beads, and these are 3 8/0s, 1 4mm bead, and 1 more 8/0 seed bead. Now, I love the look of this necklace because it mixes the wax linen cord, which has a great feel, along with a ton of fun Potomac picks. So I'm going to grab my other wire here, go through, back through that crimp tube, back through that mirrored round, just kind of spinning. You see me spin the mirrored round to get that wire through. Pull that wire, push down on those beads, pull that extra wire to a reasonable spot that it matches the other side. Go in now and squash down on that crimp tube. Again, take your wire cutter, push against, do that little snip. Now I have 4 strands of cord coming out the top of this fun, long, kind of opera length necklace. Now what we're going to do is tie it in the back. If you want to, you can add a clasp to this. And if you add a clasp, it's just cord. So you're just going to literally tie it on to the clasp. What I'm going to do instead is add a little fun flare along the back, adding some 8/0s to the back of my cord and just tie it to the length that I want it to be. So I'm going to take both strands here that sit equal in length, go back here so I know exactly what length, and I can kind of put it on and hold it down. Yep, I want it almost halfway to my belly button after my chest there, and I'm just going to turn it over and just do an overhand knot. Nothing fancy. Keeping it natural and kind of that boho look. Give a nice tight pull. And now to jazz up the ends, I'm going to take each individual strand of my waxed cord. You can twist it if you need to. Put one of my 80 seed beads on. You could also use the mirrored rounds if you wanted it a little bit brighter in the back. I'm using the crystal to bring that crystal color in. I'm going to tie afterwards, not super close to the bead. I want it to be able to float around. Nice tight pull, scissors or wire cutter. Cut that off, flare that out a little bit. Next. So you're going to have 8 cords to do this too. You don't need to do it to all of them. You can certainly just cut them off close to the project. But I like that little intentional look in the back of that bundling of seed beads and cord. Nice tight pull and chop. So I'm going to do this an additional 6 times to finish up the necklace. Once you tie those knots, you have the little seed beads hanging there at the end, and as you wear your necklace, it kind of just hangs intentionally along the back. This is great for use of white and black beads whenever you have those Potomac picks. You just put it right on and wear your necklace to go. Thanks so much for joining me in the creation of this fun drop necklace. I love the use of the multi-texture and that nice kind of beachy, summery look. Remember, if you need any supplies, go ahead and look below the video in the description, and you'll get links to all of the items that were used here in this fun black and white design, as well as the one from the treasure box. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for joining, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.